Hey guys, hope everyone is doing well, staying safe, staying healthy, and adjusting to our new normal that we'll be living with here in the near future. I've decided to take the social distancing requirements that we have and flip them on their head a little bit, and take this opportunity to, instead of distancing ourselves, to bring us closer to some of the people that you may see a lot of, but may not know as much about. So, in the coming weeks, I will be interviewing a number of our coaching staff, and trying to bring you a little bit more background, a little bit more information on who they are, and how they're dealing with this situation. So, uh, our first guest is state champion Coach Pat Moller, who coaches our girls tennis in the fall, boys tennis in the spring, and then is also a middle school basketball coach for us. So, here is my interview with Coach Pat Moller. All right, we are here with tennis coach, Coach Pat Moller. Coach, how are you doing?
Well, as good as can be expected, a little antsy being at home here, but I think we're all in the same boat and we just got to make the best of it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, I say tennis coach. Coach coaches our girls tennis in the fall. Also coaches our middle school basketball teams in the winter, and then our boys tennis in the spring. So, you stay busy, don't you?
Yeah, that's why this is so hard. I'm used to going to school at about 6:30 in the morning and getting home about 7, 8 o'clock at night, and now I'm just home all day. It's a big adjustment for me to sit at home and try to stay busy. I miss the kids, I miss the school, I miss a lot of that stuff. But like I said before, we're all in this together, and it's a unique situation when the most productive thing you can do is nothing.
Sure, right. That's what we're supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
Do nothing. Yeah. So what are your day what does your home life look like? Your home and work life
Okay.
now, which what
Right.
does that look like with your family around, and how are you making that work?
Sure. Well, I've got one daughter at home. She's a freshman. Amber is a freshman, and she's actually working at Avera in the food service industry, and they have to do things a little differently now with the virus, and so she's getting quite a few hours there. She works 3-4 days a week from 6 in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then she works some evenings as well, and then Michelle is working with the food service with the school district handing out meals. So usually from about 7 o'clock in the morning until 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm here by myself, sitting right where I'm sitting right now, and working with kids on math. I've been using the Zoom that we're using right here a lot. Do a lot of one-on-one tutoring. Spend a lot of time on my phone. Emailing, texting, calling kids, calling parents, and trying to get these kids motivated to get their credit. A lot of the kids that I have, that's the goal, is let's get this done and get the credit so we don't fall behind in credits, and make sure we get the credits we need to graduate when this is all said and done.
So can you explain a little bit of you teach in the district for us? Can you kind of explain what your teaching position is?
Sure. So I have two different roles. I teach at the alternative school at Second Chance, and I teach math, and that's all levels of math. And so for those kids, it's really about getting your diploma, getting graduating, and the biggest problem for a lot of those kids is motivation, is getting them motivated. And now that they're at home, that becomes an even bigger challenge. So the biggest job for myself and for all the Second Chance staff is to motivate kids to do what they need to do, and we just continue to be persistent with that, and it's really all about them and what's best for them to get them where they need to be so they can be as successful as they can possibly be for the rest of their lives. And then the other classes I teach, all my classes were already on the computer, and so I didn't do any teaching in front of a classroom. So I was set up pretty well for this e-learning already. But a lot of the kids that I teach need a lot of one-on-one help, and so not being in the classroom makes that a little bit more challenging. But I teach Math 1, Math 2, and Math 3. It's called. It's equal to Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, but they're all mixed together and leveled. So all my classes have all kids from all different classes in them, and the online format allows me to meet the kids where their skill level is, and work to get them as high as I can, get their math skill as high as I can in the time that I have with them. That's the whole goal of the program that I work with.
When we talked about, a lot of time when this first we saw this coming, we talked a lot about, how the most affected by this will be some of those, more vulnerable type of segment of kids that we have. And that's a lot of the kids I know that you deal with. So I know you and all of our teachers doing a great job, but so I know it's tough when you're not able to, to get in front of them and reach them there. So just want to thank you for everything you're doing with that. I know, like I said, I know you've been on the phone a lot and doing everything you can to get in front of those kids, and you're making a difference. So thanks for what you're doing for that.
I appreciate that.
All right, let's back up maybe a little bit and talk just kind of your history with the Mitchell School District. When you came and kind of some of your coaching background as it relates to that.
Sure. So I was hired as a math and physics teacher at the high school in 2003. I think was my first year, 2002 or 2003. And I was hired as assistant 7th grade basketball coach. I worked with Steve Stanforth, who keeps score for the Kernel basketball teams still, and he was a great mentor for me as a coach. I worked at the high school for 5 years, and then I actually moved down to the middle school where I taught 7th grade math for 5 years. After my first 3 years, Coach Stanforth retired, and I took the head 7th grade basketball coaching job, and continued with that. And then while I was teaching at the middle school, Coach Gail Klein retired, and they needed a new tennis coach. I never really considered the possibility of being a tennis coach until the AD asked me if I would be interested, and I had really no experience with coaching tennis. I took a class in college because I liked playing tennis. I was never very good at it. Still not really that great at it, but I like going out there and trying. I can talk smack like no other. So if you could win based on the mouth, I would probably do pretty well. But
sure.
I decided after a little bit of prodding that I'd take this challenge, and I just fell in love with it. It's such a unique sport. Being a basketball coach, basketball players are always dependent on 4 other players, and you can be a great basketball player and still not be able to control everything that you do. But on a tennis court, when you're playing tennis, you're in control of your outcome. And a lot of athletes like that change of pace, been able to sell that to a lot of the athletes at Mitchell High School and talk them into playing tennis, because it gives them the ultimate control in a lot of the other sports, football and basketball and volleyball especially. You're dependent on everybody on the team. And so that change of pace for those kids is something that a lot of them like. Some of them don't like that, and they gravitate away from sports like tennis or golf or those kinds of sports. But for a lot of athletes, it's a nice change of pace, and I've been able to build my program around recruiting athletes that like that.
Yeah, well, it's tennis certainly maybe doesn't get the some of the notoriety that that some of those some of those bigger sports are, but what you've done with both our boys and our girls programs, you've really built quite the feeder system, and that's because of the work that you put in. So it's
it's where it's at because of the work you put in. It's
Well,
fun for me to watch.
it's not just me. You know, I've got a great coaching staff that goes with me. Coach Mastel and Coach White and Coach Sersasimo and Coach Larson have have done everything I've ever asked them to do, and even stuff I've never asked them to do. They put in a lot of extra hours, a lot of time, especially in the winter when I'm coaching basketball. They take those programs and work with kids that want the time in the gym and open up the courts. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. I get the kids to come out, and then they get the kids to like the sport. And so those coaches are doing a great job, and I'm just fortunate to have all of them.
Yeah, that's great. So we're a couple days removed here from from the announcement of our continued distance education for the remaining of the school year, which ended up resulting in the cancellation of all of our spring sports. Certainly a tough time. I don't know that anyone can disagree with it. We're going through something that no one's experienced, of course. So, but what are your thoughts? Like I said, a couple days here from that announcement. What are your thoughts on that, and kind of how are you handling that?
Well, it was something that was kind of expected to come. I was hopeful, but not very optimistic before the announcement. I thought I was prepared, and then that announcement comes, and I'm sure just like all of the athletes and coaches in the state and in the nation, I wasn't as prepared as I thought I was. It was a blow. It was difficult to swallow. I know how hard these kids have worked to put themselves into a position to be successful, and we had a lot of high expectations for this season, and for that to be taken away, and really there's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. It's just a really hopeless and helpless feeling. But we have to be resilient, and we have to make the best of every situation that we have, and hopefully when this all ends, we can celebrate these kids that have put in all this time, and then we have to I'll look forward to what's to come, and start building for the future.
Yeah, it's we talk a lot about how with what we're doing with education-based athletics and high school sports, it's we're in it because we're competitive and we want to win, and that's that's certainly part of it. But we talk a lot about the life lessons, and I think we're all learning some life lessons now, which is tough, but that's life, right? Life is tough. So
yeah, that's the way it is.
So, when we look at canceling a spring season, I think people's immediate focus and thoughts go to those seniors that miss out on those last ones. It's tough for everyone, of course, but I think it's a little especially tough for to lose your last season. So, can you talk a little bit about our senior class and kind of what you have to say to them?
Sure. Well, for all the seniors in all the sports, man, the one thing I can say is everybody's going to remember your senior year. This is something that when you're 50 years old, you'll have a story to tell about when you were a senior in high school, and it maybe isn't the story that you would have written for yourself, and it maybe isn't the story that you wanted, but it is something that everybody's going to remember. And a lot of times when you're dealt a difficult situation, who you are is defined by how you handle those situations. And like you said, there's a lot that we can learn from this, and we need to be resilient. We need to be able to bring the best out in each other, even when we're facing the diversity or the difficulties that we're facing. And hopefully all of your experiences from high school can help you get through that and become a better person because of it. As far as my seniors go, I had 6 seniors on the team this year. 4 of them were projected to play varsity, and 2 JV kids. Colby Otkin is a kid that started playing, I think, when he was a sixth grader. Just a great kid with a lot of smiles on his face, and he didn't care who he was playing with. He was a good role model for kids, and we're going to miss his spirit on the tennis team. And Casey Miller is another kid that would go out and battle his tail off against whoever. It didn't matter if he was going to play against a seventh grader or he was going to play a challenge match against a freshman. He was going to go out and play well and compete hard and just love the sport. And that's really all that any coach could ever ask from anybody, is to love the sport. And with Colby and Casey, they're both pretty good tennis players. They were just on a team that was pretty deep, and they'd be getting some varsity time on a lot of teams in the state. And so I just appreciate their commitment to our program and their contributions, because when they're playing those younger kids, they're just making them better, and they have a lot of experience that those kids can learn from. And then the four kids that were returning letter winners that played varsity last year, boy, it's just a tough situation for them. They all worked really hard in the off season to prepare themselves for the opportunities that we had. We were probably projected to win the ESD. We would have been the favorites going into the ESD, into the season as far as our conference goes. And we were probably projected to win state title in the new two-class format of Class A. I'm not saying we would have had to go out and play, but my guess is that most of state would have put us at number one in both of those. And so I got to commend these kids for their work ethic. They worked harder this off season than I expected that they would, especially considering that they are multi-sport athletes, a lot of them. And I start with Caden Yerke, who is a hockey player and still found time to get into the Pitts tennis court and work on his game. He really worked on his fitness, lost some weight. He was much quicker on the court and looked really good. He played doubles for us last year, but this year he definitely would have been playing singles and doubles for us. And it's just I just don't know what to say, because I feel so bad for these kids. Another senior, Max Tupper, played two doubles and three singles for us last year, and probably would have done the same thing for us this year. Again, another kid that put in a lot of time in the off season preparing for the season. He was a lefty. Don't get a lot of lefties in tennis, and so that brought a unique strategy to his game. Just a good kid, good role model. And then Ryan Bergeson played two singles and one doubles for us last year. Big kid, had a lot of powerful strokes, had a big serve. Him and our number one learned a lot about playing doubles together last year, and I was just looking forward to seeing him play at that one doubles position again this year. It's not often that you get to return the same team back for a second year at the same level. And again, this summer he's also in rodeo, and so he does some calf roping, and he'll be doing that this summer, I'm sure, if they lift the restrictions for him. So a pretty unique. I bet there's nobody else in the state that can say they rope in the summer, play hockey in the winter, and play tennis in the spring. That's a pretty unique skill set for
diversity there.
Yeah, there's a lot of diversity there. So, and then our number one, Cade Clark, put in more time than anybody ever has at Pitts Court, as far as I know, ever this winter. Took every minute that he could. Another kid that really worked on his fitness, was dedicated to working out, getting stronger, faster, and better. He played in a lot of USTA tournaments in the off season, and was really looking forward to his senior year, playing number one for 2 years in a row, and leading this team to whatever it is that we could have achieved. I called Cade yesterday and talked to him, and it's just a hard conversation to have, and my heart goes out to him and to all of the seniors, and I wish him the best. And hopefully when this is all lifted, we can have some kind of a tennis day, some kind of maybe an inter squad tournament or something to kind of put a bookend on their career, because they certainly deserve it.
Yeah, certainly. Well, yeah, thanks for that. Like I said, we're missing out on an opportunity to, kind of highlight some of those, some of these kids. So hopefully this is maybe at least a little bit of recognition for all the work that they put in. So tough situation, no doubt, but we'll get through it as best we can, and it's certainly better to do it together if we can. So
yeah.
All right. Moving on to the lightning round. Bunch of questions. Right. First thing that comes to your head, and we'll see how well you do. So, all right. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Texting or talking?
Talking.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Chocolate chip.
Have you ever worn socks with sandals?
No.
No. All right. How many pull-ups can you do in a row?
Oh my gosh. That would be a disaster to even.
All right. Cake or pie?
Pie.
Paper or plastic?
For what? For groceries?
Grocery bags.
Oh, I guess plastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Whatever they give me.
Sure. Forehand or backhand?
Ooh, definitely forehand. If you saw
All
my
right.
backhand, you'd understand why.
Sure. Right.
All the tennis people will say forehand.
They'll know.
Too.
All right.
Yeah.
For everyone playing Coach Moller this summer, hit to his backhand.
They already know that, and they do it really well.
All right. Singles or doubles?
Doubles.
Favorite car?
Oh, my Ford F-150.
All right, there you go. Toilet paper, over or under?
As long as I have some, I'm happy.
That's true. This day age, that's not a given. Favorite carnival food?
Cotton candy.
All right, without giving any secrets, because I don't want you to have to do that, but your favorite fishing spot?
Oh, there's lots of them on Lake Mitchell if we're talking local.
Sure. If you're going fishing somewhere, where are you going?
Oh, okay. The river.
All right, gotcha. Where at on the river?
Chamberlain, right underneath Interstate Bridge. How's that?
Gotcha. Perfect. The last time you took a shower?
Last night.
Okay. I'm trying to go on every other day at least shower this day. When you don't get out of the house very much, it's tough.
Right. It is hard.
Tomato.
I shaved for this.
There you go. Thank you.
You should have seen me before. I'm serious. It was bad.
I think there's a lot of school personnel beards going right now. So
yeah, I definitely had something going, but I shaved.
Tomato is a fruit or a vegetable?
Vegetable.
How many times have you had to use the brake during driver's ed?
Per hour?
Too many to count, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
I would say I average hitting that brake about 3 times an hour.
Favorite TV show?
Oh, The Walking Dead.
Favorite subject in school?
Math.
Of course, right?
Yeah.
And scariest moment as a driver's ed teacher?
Well,
without giving any names.
Yeah. I had a kid many years ago that didn't realize when you turned, you had to turn the wheel back.
Oh.
He just turned it and held it.
That's called a circle.
Yeah.
Press on the gas hard enough, it's called a donut.
Unless there's a curb and a tree in the way.
Sure.
I used the brake a lot on that one.
Sure, right. Well, that's the end of the lightning round. Congratulations, you win nothing. But thanks for playing. So
you bet.
Again, thanks for everything you do for us as your coaching. You're definitely a true ambassador to what we're trying to do with our athletic program. true supporter in anything that we do. So thank you for that. Thank you for the time that you're putting in, and and how you're adjusting to teaching and all those things, especially with the group of kids that you work with. You're an important part of those kids' life. So thanks for everything you're doing. Thanks to your wife and daughter for jumping out there on the front lines and serving in a time like this that we're in. So stay safe with your family, and we'll get through this, and we'll be better on the other side.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
You bet.